This is Charlito Parsons with the badge in on Zoom. Do
Charlie what?
you not remember from the old Cancun?
Charlito Personas.
Yeah.
I actually don't mind that.
Got the old badge in. It's the first exclusive little Zoom number we've done. I say exclusive. Coogan was about 24 hours earlier.
Oh,
Getting
don't
on.
cry. What do you expect?
Well,
You
actually,
can't just.
I was meant to be on Tuesday and then I just got aired. I got the old Edward like blank you treatment.
Now I've been traveling. We turn up in Vegas. Just want to apologise to the viewers. Just had me run. Not looking the best. Well, I mean, obviously looking unbelievable to the general public, but for me, not looking the best. But putting on the old Zoom camera and seeing you make me feel even better. So thank you.
Wow, thanks, Edward. You've just been for a run.
Not feeling better because I'm talking to you, feeling better because I've seen you and realised how unbelievable I am.
Oh well, I've got this horrible rascal spot. They can
Yeah, I
see.
didn't.
Oh,
Yeah, to be.
I took your advice. They can see me as well, and they
Oh,
probably.
that's a shame.
Yeah, I know.
So for the first time, you've come on Zoom and they can see you and your pal.
Oh, that is horrible. That's outrageous. That's not making the old TikTok.
Yeah.
Um, you've just been for a little Stompy McStomper.
How's your stomping going ahead of your marathon? I didn't realise you were doing two marathons.
Well, I'm going to attempt the one in Tunisia, but it's not looking good. But we're going to try it. But we've got a little injury, and obviously the London
What's
one.
the injury?
It's like a tendon runner's injury. The physio said a normal sort of yeah, but
Tendon runners injury. Yeah.
something like that. Yeah, but don't you think it's cool that the boy is going out? Shout out hardest geezer. He's finally finishing. He's 3 days away from the finish line.
That is unbelievable. So, how long has he been doing it?
I think like over a year now. I think he went
What, a
out.
marathon a day?
He's been on average. He's done 50K a day for the last year and a bit.
That is unbelievable.
Isn't it sick? He got
Mm,
kidnapped in Congo and still carried on.
unbelievable sense.
What's your whoop saying?
Oh, I've got the whoop. Yeah, sorry, I didn't strategically
Get
get
the
that in.
whoop in.
Frank Smith bought me a whoop. Like it actually. Uh, it's a little bit kind of obsessive where you're sort of going to bed. Like a few of the boys went to Carbone last night. I ended up just getting a Deliveroo or Instacart over here, some healthy food, and getting 9 hours sleep on the whoop. So recovery was 94% this morning. Just had a
Wow,
run. You got about 15 minutes left because I've got the press conference coming up,
that
and
is
then
scandalous.
weigh in, etc. And yeah, looking forward to a good show in Vegas. Actually, a sneaky good show in Vegas this weekend. You know, from a profile perspective, not the biggest show of all time, but a really good card and a really important card for a lot of our sort of young fighters coming through.
Well, let's go straight into it. Hitchins, Pacheco, and Sky Nichols. It's almost like a triple whammy of headlines. Talk me
Kind
through
of
it.
like there's five. I mean, I've pushed for 5 fights on the TV card because I want to try and condense the chat and just keep the action going. So to break it down for you, first off the bell, Mark Castro against Abraham Montoya. Castro, who's kind of like one of our big hopes. You know, you saw Ray Ford win a world title, Pacheco, Hitchins, Amo Williams, these new sort of young era of US fighters, and first title fight for Mark Castro. It's a really tough fight. He's fighting Montoya, who actually beat Luis Alberto Lopez, the featherweight world champion. So you know he can fight. And then we go into Sky Nicholson, massive fight for her against Sarah Mahfood. Really, I mean, it's the first two available in the WBC for the vacant belt, 1 and 2. It's a great fight. Galauya fires a big step up. After that, you know, I want to see him fight for a world title, really. I think he's 1 or 2 fights away from that. Diego Pacheco has a very tough fight. Those 2 fights, the 2 co-main events, both undefeated fighters on both sides of the card, with Pacheco and Hitchins against Lemos as well. Hitchins is like, he's really from that Shakur, Haney, you know, amateur era of Team USA. He may be as good as them, you know. He really believes he is. People in the sport believe he is. If he wins on Saturday, Lemos is on 28-0, 29-0. He's the final eliminator for the IBF, Subriel Matias' world title, and he's also up there with the WBC. So, you know, a big moment for a lot of people on the card.
Edward, earlier in the week, you said you'd like to make Sonny Edwards and Galal Yafai. You just
Yeah.
put him there. Sonny Edwards put, well, let's start mentioning it in meetings and not just on fight week.
Woo, stunning. No, he's right. Like, do you know what? I've always believed that's a fight to make for the future. It was actually just in an interview, and I was just thinking about the plan for Galal Yafai. Really, I'd love him to fight at like a quadras next or something like that. I want him to get a world title. I'd love him or Sonny to get one, and for that to be for a world title. But whether it's a final eliminator, I don't really care. I just think that's a great fight, and especially with the smaller weight classes, you need those big fights, and that's a great headline for us in Sheffield, in Birmingham, wherever. And I know Sonny would be up for it. I know Galal's up for it. So why not try and make it happen? Two big punches in there on Saturday in that fight.
Moving forward, got some fresh quotes from Anthony Joshua off the back of the Jonathan Ross show. He said he's planning to retire in 2 years or so. Initially, it was age 35, which I believe is this October, but now he reckons he'll stick around for 2 years. Your thoughts?
My thoughts are, I think he's in the form of his life. I think he's enjoying his boxing more than ever. And while you're doing that, why not stay as long as you can? Obviously, there comes a time where you're not the fighter you once were. Many people still carry on a successful career at that point, but some people don't need to. I think when the heart and the desire goes and the ability goes or the sharpness goes, it's time to walk away. So right now, I'm as excited about AJ's career as I've ever been. And I think he is as well. Ben's doing a great job. He's he's back in training now, firing on all cylinders. And I think 2 years is about right. I think he wants to fight around August time, something like that. Then hopefully he gets the winner of Usyk against Fury, a couple of fights next year. And then what else is there to do?
I was going to say, he can do it all in that 2 years.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the dream has always been to be undisputed. And I truly believe, I believe his next fight will either be for the world title or be for undisputed. So he's in a great position. So nothing's decided in terms of his next fight. It's all up in the air. We wait on May 18. But in the meantime, he stays in the gym as he always does. He's had 4 fights in 11 months.
I know there's a press conference in a couple of weeks, so I'm sort of expecting the answer I'm going to get here. But I feel like we're going to potentially see Hrgović Dubois on June 1 for the vacant title. Could that mean an AJ headline against the winner of that fight if it happens? If
Do you know what? Honestly, no fight is done. Not Hrgović Dubois, not AJ's next fight. Everything that you read, everything that you hear is just complete pie in the sky. Like, we don't have AJ's next fight locked in. Could be anyone, could be anywhere. Obviously, we have a long-standing relationship now with Saudi Arabia, with Turkey Al Sheikh. We talked to him about the plans. We'll see what happens May the 18th. I have 2 heavyweight picks for June 1st. So, you could see Hrgović against Joyce on June the 1st. You could see Hrgović against Dubois.
And you can sign fighters, right?
Sorry?
You can sign fighters as well?
Only one.
Okay.
Yeah, only one. In the wild card pick, His Excellency's pick for the heavyweight division, I can sign a heavyweight outside of my stable. But I've seen loads of, it's this fighter, it's this fighter. Like, I want to give my fighters an opportunity, really. So I have to look to my stable first. But I also want to win the tournament badly. So I'm going to put forward the fighter that I believe will beat Frank Warren's fighter.
In the 130-pound division, Ray Ford said it won't be him fighting June 1st. Is that agreed on your side? We would have loved the Nick Ball fight.
Yeah, I mean, we've got a lot of 130-pounders. Sorry, 126-pounders, by the way. Yes. Yeah, just to correct you. Ray Ford is unlikely to be ready for June 1st. We also have Josh Warrington at 126. Lee Wood, can he still make 126? We've got Jordan Gill and Zelfa Barrett, obviously up at 130 now. We've got a lot of fighters around that weight class, but Ray's training away, but June 1st is approaching quick. I have to make my final decision a week on Sunday. Well, probably a little bit before because I've got to fly fighters in. All the fighters will be there on April the 15th in London.
At the press
All
conference.
of them. Yes.
Big things.
It's going to be a massive presser.
Um,
And the promo that I shot with Frank, wait till you see it. Unbelievable
what's
scenes.
the chain about?
Sorry?
What's the chain?
Listen, I don't wear a chain. You know that, right?
One in that. So clearly
Yeah, because I was in character, mate. I was in
what
character.
character needs a chain?
Well, I don't know. Why don't you talk to His Excellency?
Oh, so His Excellency has seen the Gucci chain that I donned and seen the grief you gave me for it and gone.
If I said to His Excellency, do you know Charlie Parsons? What do you reckon he would say?
Well, it depends if it's
Shut up, Parsons. Right. So obviously I went in there, they gave me a little ring on the pinky finger, a little chain over the top of the polo neck. You know, mate, honestly, we had the best day. Wait till you see it. It was absolutely brilliant.
You had good fun with Frank. You got on
Great fun because it was proper acting. And it was actually a great experience. I mean, look, we're very lucky that this is even happening. We're making the fights we want to make. Fighters are getting unbelievable opportunities. But to experience stuff like that, me and Frank Warren, you know, old school underground, lock, stock, bit of acting, telling the stories about the fights, and you know, it's going to be amazing. And that card on June 1st, mate, wait till you see it all. I mean, we better be up against Bivol as the main event, and then 5v5. Yeah. It's unbelievable, unbelievable.
Ben Shalom has been on talkSPORT today. There's a couple of things I'm going to read out to you. I know you made some comments earlier on in the week, but we've got some fresh stuff, I suppose. He's asked to sit down with you face to face and make some fights. Will you do this?
I mean, to be honest with you, like Frank Smith runs a lot of the business now. You know that, right? Frank Smith talks to Ben Shalom all the time. They text, they talk. I don't really need to sit. I have no problem sitting down with Ben Shalom, but it's not really going to change anything. Action over words. 5 fights have been ordered between match. You can't, I don't know how I can sort of explain this any better. 5 fights have been ordered between Matchroom and Boxer. Fabio Wardley against Frazer Clarke when we had Fabio like a year ago. And he'll say, yeah, but look what happened. Yeah, no problem. But it was really embarrassing for Frazer Clarke at the time. Adam DAZN against Dalton Smith, right? Adam DAZN's a world beater, blah, blah, blah. Sell out Wembley Stadium to fight Keyshawn Davis, blah, 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 blah. Ducked Dalton Smith, pulled out the purse bids. Richard Riakporhe against Jai Patai for the world title, pulled out of negotiations and the purse bid. Beatrice Ferreira against Caroline Dubois, which was such a good fight, pulled out of the purse bid, ducked Beatrice Ferreira. Chev Clarke against Isaac Chamberlain. I mean, it's almost like you want to pretend Chev Clarke don't exist. He's like, he went to get in the interview and they cut the stream. Like they cut the shots and they went, whoa, Matchroom fighter alert, Matchroom fighter alert, woo, woo, woo. Come off. And they just cut it. So it's like, it's all very well saying, yeah, let's meet. You know, I hate the victim mentality. It's so rich. It's like, you know, we're just a new cut. Everyone's against us. No one's against you, mate. You've had 5 opportunities to make great fights for boxing. You didn't want to make one. So we're talking, you know, Frank's talking to him all the time. I've got no problem sitting down and talking to him. But, you know, this whole everyone's against us. No one's against you. You've had 5 opportunities to make great fights. So, but I think I listened to the talkSPORT thing. He really summed it up well. I don't want to cash my fighters out against their fighters, which basically means they can't win. So when he says, I don't want to cash Adam DAZN out against Dawn Smith, what that means is I'm not just going to go and sling him in to get beat. And he's right, because Adam DAZN is a million, like he cannot beat Dawn Smith. He's not at that level. And one of the reasons that I'm pushing that fight so hard, one is because I want to make big fights. 2, I fancy it. I know we win. So I don't necessarily think what he's done in certain situations is the wrong thing to do. But the problem is when you big someone up that this kid's a world beater and he's this and he's that. It's like Caroline Dubois. She's the best fighter pound for pound in the sport. Well, why don't you fight Beatrice Ferreira then? You know, Richard Riakporhe is a world champion in making. Then why don't you fight Jaya Patai? You know, oh, Isaac Chamberlain, he's the best guy on it. No, why don't you fight Chev? Because Chev will beat Isaac Chamberlain. Beatrice Ferreira will beat Caroline Dubois. Dalton Smith will beat Adam Azim. Fabio Wardley, I believe, would have beaten Frazer Clarke when that fight was being made. And also, Opatai would have beaten Riakporhe. So he would have won 5-0. So in that respect, he's probably made the right move. But it's like Champions League and Div 1. That's the level of fighters. So I don't blame him for wanting to be at that level with the fighters. And it's like the Harlem Eubank fight. I think it's not, I can't say it's a bad fight. It's just a British title level fight. And Dalton Smith's a world-class 140-pounder.
You mentioned Isaac Chamberlain. I believe he's actually a promotional free agent at the minute. With Chev being mandated, do you maybe try and make that fight away from purse bids and reach?
Yeah, I'd love to. I mean, Mick Hennessy's been on about that fight, but you know, they go on like Isaac Chamberlain's with Sky, you know, and Boxer, and he's not, but they're pushing the Vidal Riley. I love what I'm seeing from Vidal Riley. It's quite funny. He's like, mate, you've got a mandatory. Go and fight Chev, and then we'll fight. Because these boys know Chev's on another level to Isaac Chamberlain. And I love Isaac Chamberlain. He's a great guy. Chev will win that fight so well. Vidal Riley, doing really well, learning. Chev batters him. Right, Chev's a world-class cruiserweight already, but we're just without the experience. But he wins all those fights. But you can't just ignore these people. You can't. And when you talk about, you know, we're open to making fights. We're not. They're not, because they don't even want to give airtime. They don't even want to give a column in. So they don't even want to give a tweet about our fighters or you know, like really Sky should be saying, look, Isaac Chamberlain is mandated against Chev. Who wins? Not, oh, let's pretend Chev doesn't exist and make a fight that's not mandated. So basically, to make Vidal Riley against Isaac Chamberlain, Isaac has to vacate his belts to do it. Again, another one. So we'll see. Same thing, by the way. Happy to do Isaac Chamberlain against Chev on Sky. Happy to do it on DAZN. But you know what Shane McGuigan said was, we're happy. You know, Eddie said he'd be happy to do Adam Azim against Dalton Smith, but we'd need him to promote it on Sky. I'm like, I can't do everything. So you want me to give you my fighter for your platform and promote the fight to make it big? No, I'm good, but come on, guys, you got to pay for that exclusivity. Jeez.
Just lastly on that, some of Ben's comments today. We have to create a superstar. I suppose on that point, but if I just subquote certain things, and then went on to say Jordan Thompson was slung in against Jay Opatai. What's that done for his career? He hadn't even fought at English level. Smith versus Azim will be one of the biggest fights in British boxing. Sell out an arena and possibly be pay-per-view. They'll earn 5 to 6 times what they would if it happened next. A little bit of a Jordan Thompson catching some strays in there.
Yeah, I saw Jordan's fight. I mean, Jordan Thompson, you know, pretty straightforward. Was never going to make cruiserweight again. And before he moved to heavyweight, wanting to give him a big payday to fight for the world title. The kid's a massive puncher. We rolled a dice for greatness. We say, what did he gain from that? He gained experience, money, profile, and the ability to move to heavyweight in a much better position. But if you don't want to roll the dice for greatness, don't worry about it. I do. So I want to give my fighters opportunities to change their life. And, you know, if you want to wait 3 years to try and build Adam Azim against Dalton Smith, I mean, the sport is not in a great position, is it? Like, if that's really the best that you can come up with, no, this is going to, you know, there's pay-per-view fights out there, left, right, and centre. Look at the fights we've got coming up that we're promoting and co-promoting, and they're on DAZN. Fury against Usyk, AJ against Ngannou, Bivol against Beterbiev, like Estrada against Bam, Taylor against Catchell. They're everywhere. We don't have to wait to build that fight up. Make it.
So
but
the
reality is this is my question. If they thought they'd win, would they pull out of the fight? No. That's it.
So they say that he wants to sit down with you and speak about fights. Other than the fights that have been mandated, what ones are there potentially that come
But
to
we
mind?
can't talk about fights because they won't acknowledge our fighters.
Oh yeah, but okay. So say in this, like, say it came and you guys sat down, you and Ben sit down at breakfast tomorrow in Las Vegas. What fights are you discussing?
Well, I mean, they've pulled out 5 of them. I don't know, Lauren Price against Sandy Ryan for the unified world titles. Who else is there? I don't mean to be rude when I say this, but they're building a lot of fighters, so they don't have a lot of world champion, like world elite fighters. So if you look at it, I mean, all right, Billum Smith against Opatai, or that winner against Opatai. Who else have they got? I don't know. Who else have they got?
Sasha
Like,
Jonas?
yeah, Jonas against Sandy Ryan. Who else? Trying to think of a world class fighter that they've got. No.
Oh, you
No.
froze me there.
No, no, no. I was just trying to think, but I don't know. No. Look, listen. The phone's always open, mate. I've never, you've seen me and Frank didn't talk for 15 years. Now we're having it off. I mean, it's fantastic. So, but you got the actions more than words. You can't just say, yeah, we want to work together and pull 5 fighters out consistently out of first bit. So,
Just lastly on all of that, Wardley Clarke, what did you think of it? And Ben said that he'd like to do the rematch potentially on pay-per-view. Your thoughts?
yeah, I mean, someone told me the other day they were going to do Billum Smith against Rakpur on pay-per-view. I was like, what? But, you know, Wardley Clarke on pay-per-view, British heavyweight title fight. Wardley's a free agent. Maybe we'll do that fight.
You
You
look
know?
at working with Fabio again on a more permanent
Yeah,
basis.
of course. Look, Fabio's done a good job. He's manoeuvred well. We've got some big shows coming up around the world. I don't think Fabio has to fight Frazer Clarke. I mean, Fabio Wardley against Joe Joyce, love it. Fabio Wardley, against Dubois. Fabio Wardley. Fabio could roll the dice now at world level for a big payday because he could lose the Frazer Clarke fight, and then he could have that big fight at world level, and if he loses, the Frazer Clarke fight's always there. So, Fabio's done a good job, and see what's next.
Ben Whittaker, what did you make of his performance? And he put out
I really listen.
he put
Let's
out
talk about Leon. Let's
block.
talk about Leon. Leon Willing. Yeah. Well, I liked him. Slick on the ropes, nice, tough. Um, I really rate Ben Whittaker. Thought it was a poor performance. That something's not right with that whole. I don't know. Ben just looks like he don't really want to be there.
So
I
when
don't
I
know.
spoke to Ben, he said because he's only 27, they sort of don't want to. Well, for example, I pose like the Louis Edmondson fight and fights like that as an example. If you were to take the reins on that, how would you? I mean, how would you move his career?
I'll be fighting him in 10 rounders now for intercontinental titles. Ben's good enough to beat these guys with one hand, right? So you don't want to mess around fighting at central area level and levels below that. You want to be headlining him, yeah? So like the last thing I'd be doing is putting Ben on at, what time is he on? 6 o'clock or 7 o'clock on a Sunday. Like he should be headlining. He has the biggest profile of the entire Sky Sports stable, right? By a mile. He should be headlining in Birmingham for intercontinental belts, move him over 10 rounds, more than good enough. And I don't know, but he doesn't seem, I don't know if there's a little, I don't know, just doesn't seem very happy. So good fighter, big star. And they need to box him in America and around the world, really, because if I'm building Ben Whittaker, I'm building him as a global star. He's good enough. He's got the personality. He's got the charisma. and you have to be boxing him on the big shows in America, as well as headlining him in the UK. So if it was me, I'd be fighting him, on, I don't know, Haney Garcia in New York. I'd be fighting him on BAM against Estrada on the West Coast. Maybe fight him in Saudi. He should have already boxed in Saudi, really. I mean, he hasn't. He boxed Usyk against, but not since the new era of big time boxing in Saudi. That was what, 2 years ago that he boxed. So, yeah, great fighter. I didn't think the performance was great. I think he's a bit stale, and I think he's a bit. I don't know. Something's not right.
Conor Benn, I understand that because obviously UKAD have released nothing, yourselves have released nothing, and the British Boxing Board of Control have released nothing, that you're bound to confidentiality. We understand that. When can we expect to hear something?
As soon as it's resolved. I mean, to be honest, like, everything's ongoing, and you're correct for once in your statement that there has been no statement from the parties, and that's the reason why. So ongoing situation, and hopefully it's frustrating for us as it is for everybody. There'll be some news soon.
How do you move with, like, how do you move as of where you are right now?
Well, we moved because we got fights planned and ready to go. So it's just the same as it has been. It's nearly 2 years since the test. It's unbelievable, but we are where we are.
We saw that obviously in Saudi Arabia done the little Manny Pacquiao face-off. If a fight was to happen in Saudi with them using the British Boxing Board of Control, is that now something that would be a problem to a fight?
No, listen, we hope we can reach a position by that when the opportunity arises, he can fight in the UK. But again, it's not even that I can't say anything until that's resolved, which hopefully will be in a quick time. We'll go from there.
Joseph Parker put out a very good prime Joseph Parker call-out video to Dillian Whyte. That's a great fight, one that we could maybe see landing in Saudi Arabia. You've worked with both. I wondered if potentially that could even make its way on the 5v5 somehow.
No, definitely not on the 5v5, but maybe in time. I think it's a good opportunity for Dillian. Joe Parker's, what's he, interim world champion? Like, he's arguably one of the hottest heavyweights in the world right now. So I know Dillian's already beaten him, but it was a great fight at the O2 and a good opportunity for Dillian. If he gets the opportunity to take that fight, I would take it.
Fury Usyk, we are getting, wow, I didn't realize we're in April now. So we're sort of 5-6 weeks away. Monster card. Firstly, I've not seen much criticism of the undercard, but supposedly there has been a bit. Just
yeah, it's quite amazing. I mean, look, firstly, it's one of the biggest fights in the history of the sport, the undisputed heavyweight world championship. I'm so happy we're even getting it. If I was doing this fight, I would be spending a tenth on the undercard that is being spent. First of all, you have a rematch for one of the great cruiserweight fights between Jai Opetaia against Bradis. Like, if you haven't seen that first fight, watch it back. Bradis broke Opetaia's jaw in 2 places. It was an absolute back and forward war. Then you've got an all-British world title fight between Joe Cordina and Anthony Kakachi. You've got Sergey Kovalev on the card. You've got Mark Chamberlain. You've got David Naika. I'm missing some people out as well. But, like, I can't... We're crazy as boxing fans, where it's like you've got the undisputed heavyweight world championship and 2 fantastic world title fights as well, and you're still not happy.
But this is what I was going to say. If we compare it, and this is like no disrespect to yourself or Frank Warren, but some of the stadium fights in the UK, don't get me wrong, the undercards were good, but this is like a serious level up on them.
But it's just what we do as fight fans. We always find something that we're not happy with. Let's praise the fact that you are seeing Fury Usyk. It's a fight of the generation, and I promise you, even Kakachi Cordina is going to be a great fight. Bradis against Opetaia will be an absolute war, be a thriller, and it's a very good card, a stunning main event. And by the way, guess what? 2 weeks after Fury Usyk, we got Bivol Beterbiev for undisputed, and the 5v5 undercard, which is an absolute corker. Come on, guys. Wake the fuck up.
A few more from me, Edward, because Mum's texting.
That was Eddie Abu, by the
way. Fucking sugary shit, guys.
Yeah. Come on, guys. Wake the fuck up.
I can't believe you watch Eddie.
Of course.
He made you think.
Makes sense. Because they're putting shit in our food that we don't even realise.
fucking sugary shit.
What is this? Rice cake. Rice Krispies cake. Shit. This is potato. This is from the gang. Wake the fuck up, guys. I love Eddie Hearn.
He's fucking brilliant. That is a link up we've got to see when we're back in the UK.
Yeah, I'm going to try and do that.
I'm
But I'll do the link up for my podcast, not on your fucking little thing.
Oh, boo. I was all over that. A few more. Canelo has come out and said he still wants a Dimitri Bivol rematch. You are in touch with Saul. You have a photo of him on your desk. What's the crack, General? Have you spoken?
Yeah, look, listen, Bivol's got to beat Beterbiev first, but the rematch is there if Saul wants it. We'll see what happens. And obviously, hopefully he can come through Munguia on May 4th.
Does he?
Yeah, it's a tough fight, but I believe he does, yeah.
Katie Taylor, what's the crack? She was going to be May 25, right? But now obviously that
Yeah,
is...
we're in heavy negotiations now for a big fight for Katie Taylor. I'm not going to say any more at the moment, but it'll be, looks like June time.
A boxer or an MMA fighter?
Boxer.
Okay. Any hints?
No.
No. Okay. I actually think that is about it. I was just looking over me
Good,
notes.
because I've got to go. I've got to get
I
ready
know
for the
you've got
presser.
to go, but I'm gonna drop one more because you know the social media numbers are what we need. So Angry Ginge, Young Philly, H. I know you're a big H fan. They have started Bazinga. Shout out Bazinga. You know exactly who Bazinga is. They've started a pro clubs team called Girth and Turf. Now the viewership is absolutely astronomical. Not only does your boy want a spot in like left back or centre back, which is probably never going to happen, but there's no harm in trying. I think, right, we need to get the General on pro clubs. I don't know if you're aware of what pro clubs is. It's where you create like an ultimate team and we take on Girth and Turf. So we've got General Hearn up top, Peter Parsons next to him. We've got, I don't know, like Colin on the left. We can stick in AJ on right wing. Do you know what I'm saying? And have a big clash. They played Trent Alexander-Arnold last night, done 70k viewers. Can we get involved, Edward?
Oh, so is this an actual game or is it on FIFA or something? Or
It's on like an 11-a-side pro clubs on.
mate, I'm 44 years old. It's time for me to go to work. I'll catch you later.
Awful response. Edward, see you later. Enjoy Vegas. No gains. Au revoir.
Bye.